Good morning, everyone. This is Lisa Lashendro. I am one of the annuity sales directors here at Insurance Agency Marketing Services, and I welcome you all today to join John Williams at the Standard and myself. Today, we're going to talk about one of the strongest short year FIA products out there in the industry. And John is going to go over that with you. I do see some names I recognize that are already part of the IMS family. So for you producers out there that are already working with us, thank you so much for coming back to one of our webinars. Always love seeing those familiar names. I do see some new names in here as well. So for you that this is the first webinar you've been on with IMS, welcome aboard. Welcome to the IMS family. This is one of the things that we do almost on a daily basis to keep you guys all educated and in the know of what's going out there in our industry. Um, with that, I'm going to go ahead and start off with some items. Some of the things that you get in working with us here at IMS. For those of you already working with us, this might be a good refresher for you and some of the opportunities that you may or may not be taking advantage of. And then for those of you that are new to IAMS, this will all be new to you. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Right out of the gate here, when you contract with IAMS, we want to show you our partnership and our dedication to you right away. So in the first 6 months, as soon as you get contracted with us, any life or annuity business that you write with us, you will hit one of these levels or even maybe above a million, which I would not turn away. But anyway, once you hit that $100,000 level or above, we will provide you with marketing dollars or webinars, or maybe it's leads, or maybe you need to revamp your website. We think outside the box. So your annuity or life director will contact you, or you let them know that you have questions, and we talk about your business. We don't just say, okay, well, you have 4 items to choose from. Which one do you want? Like it's a McDonald's, drive-through value pack. Um, this is going to be something, one thing that you'll notice working with IMS is that we think outside the box. Our goal is to grow your business. That's really it. So if webinars doesn't make sense to you or make sense to your business plan, why in the heck would we want to say, you get a free webinar? That doesn't make sense. So whether you are more into just preset appointments, or maybe you are into workshops or other marketing ideas, we talk to you about those and make sure we get you the right fit. So if you have any questions on this, definitely let us know. Next, I don't know anybody that doesn't like a referral. You love your referrals. There's no better compliment, and we do too. What we do with our referrals, though, if you refer a producer and they get contracted with us, we want to thank you for that in a form of dollars. So once a quarter, you'll receive a check for any life, index annuity, SPL, MIGA business that they submit through that quarter. Steve Murray will issue you a check. Keep in mind, this has nothing to do with your referrals commission. It doesn't shave anything off there. It's not an override of any sort. This is literally a check from Steve, from IMS to you to thank you, because without you referring them, we wouldn't have seen this business. So we want to show you that appreciation. Also, our back office support. This is absolutely something that sets us aside from all the competition out there. I know you hear this all the time, and we've got the best support. We've got this best support. Well, this is why IMS doesn't hold your feet to the fire with contracting or any of that stuff, because we know that our support is the best in the industry, and people stay with us and we got producers that have been through us, from the beginning over 30 years ago, that are still with us today because of that support and personal service that we provide for you. We have no voicemail here. Every time you call, it's a 2 or 3 ring guarantee that you're going to talk to a live body. It's not going to be press 1 for contracting, press 2 for sales. No, we don't have any of that here. You will talk to a live person. If the person you're calling in for is On the other line, you simply ask for someone else to assist you and we'll get you to someone else, or you can have that person give you a call back. Not a problem. Whatever floats your boat. Not only that, but one of the biggest things that we want you to utilize our back office support for is so that you can really focus on marketing. We want you out there doing what you do best. So if we have you talking to people, building those relationships, then you are going to be more productive in your sales as well. So that's why we want to be the person that sits on the phone with the carriers, following up for cases, except for the standard, of course, they're on top of it, right? Um, and you know, doing your illustrations for you, being your expert, being your coach, do all the research for you. Let us do all that for you. Just call us, tell you, tell us what's going on, and we will take it from there. So don't hesitate to use us for any back office support. Because I do encourage you all to save this in your browser. It is our website. Website is www.imzinc.com. Here you can find term quoters, you can find annuity weight watch and see what the best MICA rate is. You can see sales resource library. You can go and look at this webinar, or any of the webinars we've done here in the past. Case design, all sorts of different tools that you have at your fingertips. So if you haven't already saved this to your browser, do so. And if you ever want any of us to go over and give you a little tour of the website so you can utilize the resources there, just let me know. Also on our website, we do have Firelight. This is the best e-app program in our industry to submit annuity business. As you can see, let's see. We've got the standard. The standard is, this is not updated, but the standard is on here. John can be a testimony as to why e-apps are better than a paper app. You're going to get your application in good order and an easier format. You're going to make sure you have the most updated forms. It'll highlight what you are required to complete, so your applications are in good order. Sorry. Okay. All right, thanks. Sorry about that. You're also you're going to get a faster result from the carrier, and your review process is going to be a lot shorter. And I don't know, John, if you want to chime in and give your 2 cents on Firelight and e-apps.
Yeah, e-apps and Firelight in general are an excellent way to submit business, and there's a lot of business being done right now, folks, from all carriers. A lot of IMOs are doing a lot of business just because the level interest rates are increasing and so on and so forth. And Firelight just allows you to streamline that process a little bit more easily. It ensures that the case is going to be in as clean a manner as you possibly can. That's going to help facilitate your business get it issued much quicker than it would if we keep having to go back and forth for forms or signatures and so on and so forth. So just very efficient way of doing business, and Firelight is a well-known brand and has been doing this for some time, and highly encourage you to use it.
Awesome. If you ever have a question, let's say you want, and just so you guys know, there's other ways that you can use Firelight besides pulling forms and the right applications. You don't have to do an electronic signature. If you wanted to, you could print out the application after you've completed it on Firelight, and then take the application to the client, have them sign it, and then download that signature page, and then still submit it through Firelight and get that fast process. So if you ever have any questions on that, don't hesitate to let us know. We'd be happy to walk you through the first few apps, answer any questions, get you comfortable using it, and off you go, having a lot more success. Our creative marketing solutions here at IAMS is something else that we're extremely proud of. A lot of IMOs will outsource, folks to build websites and all, logo designs, postcards, handouts, strategies, stationery, all sorts of things. We have those folks on our payroll and here in-house. So if you ever have questions or want to do a marketing analysis and kind of do a revamp of your marketing strategies and need to utilize additional resources, we have them here as well. Also, I want to chat with you about our guys at the in our IMS Wealth Management sister company. This is something we've started several years ago. We wanted to make sure we were the one-stop shop for all of your needs. And we did this by bringing these guys on. And there's a couple things I want to point out. They are RIA. They can help you get your license. It's a full service, just like you would get here at IMS with life and annuities. You're going to get that on the wealth management side as well. They'll do all of your reports. They'll help you with all the applications. They'll help you with all of your compliance. I mean, they literally do everything for you in a back office standpoint and help you, handle that AUM. Another thing I want to point out is that is a really cool thing. And I used to be an agent many years ago. And before I had my securities license, I had to bring somebody else in on my client meetings if they had a securities need. Well, that meant that I had to write them in on, a portion of the applications that I could have done on my own as well because they were part of that meeting and that's just how it went. Well, you don't have to do that anymore. You can keep full control of your clients, keep them in your backyard, and refer that client over to IMS Wealth Management. And then if you ever decide to get registered or get your license, then IMS Wealth Management will transfer that client back to you. I don't know any broker or any representative out there that will do that for you. They're going to want to hang on to that residual income, right? So, anyway, I just think that's super special. I'm going to go ahead and launch a poll here right now on if you would like more information on IMS Wealth Management. Definitely hit yes. And one of our guys, Duncan or Charles or Mike Hansen, or one of those guys will get a hold of you and answer any of those questions that you have. So I'll give this another couple seconds and then we'll keep on moving. While I'm waiting, I do look at the questions box at any time during John's presentation. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to write that question in there. If I don't get to you or we don't get to you in this webinar, we'll follow up with you and make sure we get that answered for you. So utilize that question box. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and close the poll here. Thanks everybody for participating. And I'll keep on trucking. Okay, our Life and Annuity Academy is a big deal. No other IMOs do this, where they literally pay for the entire cost of this 2.5 day training as provided for you. So we will take care of your flight. We'll take care of your room board, dinners, functions, all of it. I think they even provide you with pens and notebooks and all of that. So if you want to bring your license to get on the plane, and I don't know, your phone, I suppose that's about all you'll need. Our next academy is going to be here in our Omaha office in September. And while I talk, I'm going to launch a poll on this academy as well, in case you want to get registered. And what we do at these academies is, first off, you're in a room with other successful producers like yourself. And there's a lot to say about that. But then we bring in experts. We bring in some of our carriers and talk about what strategies are working, what marketing is working. We talk about advanced concepts. So this definitely wouldn't be an insurance 101 type class. This is going to be more advanced, and walking away with tools and ideas to increase your business. That's really the goal. So we're investing in you for you to partner with us and increase those sales and your revenue and continue to grow. So if you're interested in going or have questions, make sure you check yes, and I'll get that registration over to you. All right, we'll keep moving here. Next, okay, so this trip is closed. we do have the qualifications open for our next trip for our top producers. Now, when you hit a 4 million point system, or, like this case, it was 4.5. Steve lowered it to 4. And this is an example of some of the trips that we go on with our top producers. Stay tuned for the next trip, where I think we're just finalizing that. I don't want to make any announcements in case something changes. But yeah, this is an example of what we do for our top producers that are, um, bringing in 4.5 million into IMS. We want to show you that appreciation and hard work, and take care of you with a nice trip, hanging out with other super cool, successful producers like yourself. And that's all I got, John. That is all I got. So obviously, we're a marketing company. Check us out on Facebook, LinkedIn. Let us know if you have any questions. And with that, John, I am going to share my screen to you. Jared, are you on?
I am. I'm not sure if you can hear me or not.
That's so weird. I don't see you. Jared, do you want to go? You want to introduce yourself as
I would
well?
love to, and then we'll turn it over to John. I do apologize. I actually, Lisa, what ended up happening, I had to call in. I had some technical difficulties. I've been working with Julie in your office. I'm assuming it's probably on my end, so I cannot see the screen, but I am on the phone.
Okay,
So prior to, if you don't mind, I'll just say a few words and then kick it over to John. So,
perfect.
again, thank you all for joining. Obviously, we have an incredible opportunity here to learn a little bit more about the standard, and we're going to obviously learn that from Mr. John Williams, who I've known for quite some time. John, good to hear from you. Haven't seen you in a while, but Market Synergy Group has partnered up with the standard on an exclusive opportunity for us to help with the distribution of their existing product lines that John's going to be talking about today. And just a quick commercial on Market Synergy Group. We are a product development company, product development and distribution company that brings new solutions and ideas to our founding members, IMS obviously being one of them. So what we try to do is keep an exclusive group of marketing organizations as our partners and provide them with, specific needs and concepts in the indexed annuity space, among others. So certainly we're excited about this opportunity we have with the standard. Again, our goal is to bring those ideas to a select few organizations such as IMS, giving you all, the advisors that work with them, the opportunity to have something that maybe your, advisor competitor down the road doesn't necessarily have. So I just wanted to hop on here and say thank you to IMS and certainly John, the standard, for this opportunity. And then we're going to let him talk specifically about the products. And then Lisa can let you know how to contact us if you have any questions in regards to how we can help set it up. Just to be a little more specific, we generally speaking will work directly with, Lisa and the others at IMS, but would be happy to answer any questions that you guys have. So Lisa, thank you for allowing me to be on here. John, thanks for allowing me to be on here. And I'll just turn it over to you and let you take it from here.
Thank you, Jared. I really appreciate that. It's good to hear you again. Look forward to seeing you again soon. And Lisa, also appreciate the time today as well, and everybody who joined the webinar. My name is John Williams. I'm a regional with the Standard. I've been with the Standard for some time and have worked with IMS for some time, and have known Jared, as I mentioned. Today I want to talk about a new product. It's a new indexed annuity that we just came out with. We rolled it out, it was in July, I guess. We're starting to see some additional application flow. There's a lot of things going on in our business right now. Interest rates are that haven't been at this level for some time. We've got participation rates are way up, cap rates are way up. 5-year MIGAs are over 4%. So there's a lot of application flow, a lot of questions, a lot of activity that's being generated, which is nice. So as I mentioned, this is a brand new product. We're just getting up and going. It's called the Enhanced Choice Index, and this is what I'm going to talk about today. And I just want to share with you some of the nuances and kind of what it's designed to do from a performance standpoint, and how to position it with your clients. So Enhanced Choice Index is the name of the product. And I know we're going to focus a little bit on the shorter surrender charge 5-year product, which we'll do. The Enhanced Choice does have a 5, a 7, and 10. It's a single premium. Now, this thing is built for accumulation, okay? It's not designed for income, or it has no income rider attached or that you pay for. This is designed for accumulation. And it's got some nuances. It's got some guarantees. It is a participation rate driven product. There is no cap on any of the indices or the accrediting methodologies that we use. So that does separate it somewhat and makes it somewhat unique. So Enhanced Choice Index. These are financial ratings. We've been around for 116 years. So it's an old company, an old but a good company, right? But we've been around for some time. But we're always proud that we want to be sure to mention that our ratings are strong and have been for some time. We are one of only 8 life and health carriers that have maintained an A rating or higher from AM Best since 1928. So we're proud of that. We want to share that. So rest assured, the company you're doing business with has been around for some time. It's got very strong ratings. So real quick in regards to the product overview of the 5, 7, and 10, as I mentioned, this is single premium, no additional funds. Enhanced Choice Index. There's 4 indexes. We do have the S&P 500 index. I won't spend a lot of time on each individual index, just a little bit, but we do have the S&P 500 index. All of you folks know what that is. And we also have 3 low volatility indexes, the Mark 5%, the Daily Risk Control 5%, and the new ESG Daily Risk Control 5%. And you'll notice that they're all branded from S&P, and we did that on purpose. We wanted to use Standard & Poor's. We wanted to have a concise, clean marketing show for the product. We think it makes it more simple for the client, more simple for the agent to understand. So we are using S&P exclusively for our index options, which there are 4 of. And I always kind of position the indexes as sort of the engine of any indexed annuity. And as I mentioned, that we're using S&P, 3 low volatilities, and I'll get to that in a second in regards to a little bit more of a deep dive. I also mentioned before that there is no cap on this product. This is only participation rates. We have none of the indexes are capped. We have an index participation rate and what we call an enhanced index participation rate, which I'll share with you in a minute. But that is a higher participation rate that is paid for by a fee from the client. Now, the fixed interest account is also available. It's currently 3%. It was increased fairly recently, and that positions it fairly competitively from a competitive standpoint. And a lot of folks are utilizing that as a way to allocate assets while the market is kind of doing its thing. As you know, it's what it's been doing the last 4 or 5 months or so. So folks have been utilizing that 3% guaranteed rate. It's also protected by what we call a guaranteed minimum accumulation benefit. This is just a money back guarantee, folks. This is if for some reason any of these indexes that underperform over the 5-year term, over the 7-year term, and the clients at the end of those terms are not made whole because of the fee that they're paying for the enhanced participation rate. In other words, there could be a situation where the account value is lower than what they originally started with. We're going to give them their full money back, and it's like a return of fees to us. So there's not going to be any 1099 attached to it. We're not going to consider it accredited interest. So that makes it very client friendly. 5, 7, 10, as I mentioned, is available in California. Surrender charge is a little bit different. The 10 years not available in California. Any California business has got no MVA. Upside potential is what I mentioned. This thing is, as I mentioned, is built for accumulation. Okay, so this is the S&P 500. I won't spend a lot of time on this, but this is the most well-known and recognized index in the world, and I'm sure all of you folks are very familiar with it. So I will not spend a lot of time going over the nuances of the S&P 500 index. Now, the Mark 5% is a low volatility index, whereas the S&P 500 is not a low volatility index. The Mark 5% is built for 5% target volatility. It's been around since 2017, if memory serves me. So it does have some actual return history over the last several years, and it's been a pretty successful performer from that standpoint. Standard, this is a new indice for Standard. This is not particularly new indice for other fixed indexed annuity providers, but we chose this one because it does have some history. It tracks 3 underlying classes: equities by way of the S&P 500 itself, commodities and fixed income, and it allocates based upon the volatility of each of these. So it does have this commodities and fixed income component that is has the opportunity to perform in a high inflationary high inflationary environment, and also an increasing interest rate environment. So that's kind of exactly where we're at. So we're probably fortunate to have this index on the product right now. But it is built for a target volatility of 5%.
Hey,
This is just a,
John, can I
yes.
stop you right there? I do have some agents that want a little bit more of an explanation on what that low vol means. What does the 5%, risk control actually mean? Can
Yeah,
you give a 10,000-foot view of that?
the low volatility component is an algorithm that they attach to this index that basically allows it to be smoothed out. Okay, it's not going to have, like, whereas the S&P 500 might go up 20% one year, down 20% one year. These low volatility indexes by definition won't do that. They're not going to have the big swings up and the big swings down. And that's going to level out your returns over the long period of time. And a lot of index annuity carriers like us, they add these low volatility indices to their products, particularly in a volatile environment like this, because of the big swings. The clients don't like to see from one year to the next an up 15%, a down 30%, and this just allows carriers to offer an index that is designed not to have these big swings ups and down, but yet perform over the long term. Hopefully that's a good enough explanation. If not, I'm happy to follow up on an individual basis.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay. But back to the Mark V, as I mentioned, it has the S&P 500, gold and treasuries. They reallocate each year based upon volatility. This allows them to, again, smooth out the returns. In a low volatility environment, more money is going to be allocated to the actual S&P Mark V index. It does have a cash component. So if you're dealing with a situation where the market goes down over the past week or gone down very quickly over the past several days, the index will move money into cash in those high volatility environments. So, as I mentioned, this has been around since 2017. A lot of other carriers offer this Mark 5% low vol index on their products, or at least a handful of them do, and it's been a good performer in increasing markets, and also it's doing decently this year in a volatile market. So the daily risk control 5%, another index that we offer, it's another low volatility from S&P. This is maybe my favorite low volatility index, just because it was the first low volatility index offered from S&P, and so it's been around since 2009. And it's simple to understand, it's simple to explain. It's basically just the S&P 500, and then it has combined with a volatility target of 5%, or it's a algorithm, a calculation, if you will, that will smooth out the S&P 500 index itself. So if it's in a high volatility environment, it's going to move money into cash. If it's low volatility, it's going to move more money towards the S&P 500 itself. So you have upside potential with the less exposure to the big swings, and then obviously it's all money is being indexed to the largest, most successful companies in the United States via the S&P 500 itself. So this is, again, equities via the S&P 500 and cash. So it'll just move between the two. And it's designed for a 5% volatility. And again, has been around and shown actual return history since 2009. I think the last calculation I did from 2009, when it actually began, the annual returns were this was as of, I think it was last week, I looked at this. The annual return since inception was 4.92, so just under 5%, and then you would add a participation rate on top of that, which is going to be in excess of 100%. So it has the opportunity to accumulate and earn some funds in a volatile market. This slide is a little convoluted, but I just wanted to point out a couple of the bullet points here. For instance, the one on the bottom here, the maximum drawdown during the 2008 financial crisis for this index was 7.7% versus about 51% for the actual S&P 500. So that's really how this thing is, what it's designed to do. It's designed to smooth out the very low lows and But you also, on the flip side, you're not going to have a 30% return with a low volatility index of any kind. It's just not designed to do that. But it allows you to talk to your client that your client is not going to have to worry about those big swings up and down with like with the S&P 500. So we also added a brand new index that S&P just came out with at the end of last year. It's called the S&P ESG Daily Risk Control 5%. It's also built for 5% volatility, but ESG stands for environmental, social, and governance. Now this is intended to take a look at all the S&P 500 companies, and it goes through a filtering process based upon a company's score, if you will. The S&P will rank the companies based upon their environmental, social, and governance characteristics and impact. But it's also designed for 5% volatility. Now I know that, and I haven't done research maybe for another last couple months, but the Standard I know is the very first company to offer this particular low volatility index, the ESG Daily Risk Control 5. And there are 3 other indexed annuity providers that offer some type of an ESG investing option for their clients. And I think that you'll probably see more of this in the future. We're sort of a first mover in regards to that. It's pretty well known if you're selling securities or in that world. You've probably seen a lot of variable annuities that have an ESG component. Fixed income investing, EFTs, all of them have and are heavily involved in ESG investing. The fixed indexed annuity world it's fairly new. We're kind of on the cusp of that, but we're a first mover in regard to that. So basically, the way that it works, this is a decent slide, but it takes all the companies within the S&P 500. It's going to exclude any of those companies that, like tobacco companies that are in the thermal coal business, companies that have a low UNGC score, which stands for United Nations Global Compact Principles. These companies are eliminated, and the companies that abide by the industry standards for S&P to make the grade for a company to be included in this index, then it's the top 75% of the S&P 500 companies by market cap are selected based upon this ESG score, and there you have your index. And then an added 5% low volatility algorithm. It's going to perform, we think, similarly to what the daily risk control 5% and the mark 5%. It's not going to perform exactly in lockstep, but it is designed for 5% volatility. This is important. Depending on where you are in the political spectrum, there are a good considerable amount of people out there that are wanting to invest their money in a very socially responsible way, and this allows you to do that via our product in a fixed indexed annuity. So we're a first mover here. On to the little bit more about the participation rates. I mentioned that each indice has a participation rate and an enhanced participation rate. These are what I like to call the steering wheel of a fixed indexed annuity, or the crediting methodology. And remember, we don't have a cap involved. This is only all of our options are uncapped. It's a participation rate only, and I'll share what the par rates are here in a minute. But the participation rate is applied to the growth of the index each year. Obviously, you're not going to experience any loss from year to year like any indexed annuity. Ours is separate. Ours is something different, that we have what's called an enhanced index participation rate, and this is fairly new in the industry. There are several companies that have a fee for a higher par rate or higher cap rate. We charge a 1.5% fee. The policy receives a higher participation rate. And I haven't got to this, but that participation rate on a 5 and a 7 year chassis will be guaranteed for the term. What I like to always point out is how we calculate that fee, and no one ever likes to pay a fee, right? And I get it, but for the 1.5% fee, we actually calculate the fee at the beginning of the policy year, and then we charge it after the policy, the policy has been credited interest. So, for instance, like if you have a $100,000 contract, we'll calculate the $1,500 fee. Maybe you've got a 7% credited rate to your policy. Now you're at 107, and then after 107 is credited, then we take out the $1,500 fee. So we calculate. So we think it's the most client-friendly way to do that. That fee will not change. It's not going to go up. It's contractually guaranteed. So it's a client-friendly way of doing business. These are the crediting
And then
rates.
just to
Excuse
add
me.
to that, so you have a true up feature with those fees too. And this is something I talk to a lot of my agents about. I mean, you're pretty much taking, dare I say, the risk off the table with there is a downside on the market and zero has to be your hero. Well, you still have that 1.5% fee that year, right? Um, at the end of the term, the standard is going to true you up if that is the case. If you haven't made at least that 1.5% in a credit strategy, then they are going to credit you back that 1.5%.
Yeah, she's referring to what's called the guaranteed minimum accumulation benefit. It's just a secondary guarantee on the policy, and it's really going to come into play, as Lisa mentioned. If let's say you're invested in the S&P 500 and you're invested in the daily risk control 5%, and maybe the daily risk control 5%, despite it's been around since 2009, maybe it just completely tanks for 5 years in a row or 7 years in a row, and the S&P 500 does the same thing, and your client's buying up or purchasing a higher participation rate, there could be a situation where your client's account value, because we're taking out the fee, is not what they started with at the beginning of the policy term. And if that happens, that's when that guarantee kicks in. We'll give them their money back at the end of the term. We'll repay their fees that they've been paying for the past 5 years or the past 7 years, and we're not going to 1099 the client. We don't consider it a credited interest to the policy, so we're not going to 1099 the client. So I think it's probably the most fail-safe way of handling a fee option.
Yep, absolutely.
Excuse me, I had to cough there. Now, this slide says crediting rates. These are actually crediting rates. These are actually participation rates as of July 1st for the 5, 7, and 10. We can focus on that 5-year. There's the S&P 500. Notice the par rate's at 32%. It's not capped. The par rate is 32%, and the enhanced par rate is 50% on a 5-year chassis, which is a strong participation rate that is uncapped for a 5-year chassis. And you notice that each of the 3 low volatility indices, they all have the exact same participation rates, 125 and 180 on the 5-year chassis. So you can see the difference of what that 1.5% fee does purchase. And I'm getting ahead of myself in one slide, but if you purchase a 5 or a 7 and you're investing in any of these low volatility indices or all of the low volatility indices, your participation rate or your enhanced participation rate will be guaranteed. So for instance, if you're buying the 5 at 180% participation on the daily risk control 5%, remember that previously I did the calculations from 2009, actual return history, annual returns was just under 5%. Apply the 180% participation and there's going to be your credited interest. So it's going to be somewhat, and I'm just calculating in my head, as probably 8-9%. So you'll notice the fixed account is also 3%. That was increased fairly recently. That positions that account on any fixed indexed annuity in a pretty strong way.
So that would be locked as well, the fixed.
The fixed the fixed is locked for the first year only. Lisa, it's a
Okay.
great question. It's the first year only, and then we look at it each year after that. But I will say, we just increased this to 3%. We had the same fixed account rate on our indexed annuities for years, for years. So it doesn't change often. So it's not like that's going to be 3% next year, and then next year it's going to be 50 basis points. That's just something that we do not do.
That's something I also bring up to my folks that I'm talking to about the standard, is that you guys have a really nice renewal rate history. And I think in times like this, when you're looking at some other carriers that might be, offering other higher rates or whatnot, look at their history. How often are they going up and down, up and down, up and down, the shining shiny penny in front of you. Oh, look at this rate. And then next year, you're going to have a little surprise and have to have a conversation with your client. So I like that about the standard. You guys have a really nice renewal rate history, strong carrier that's going to stand by their client. John, did we lose you?
Whoops, there we go. Sorry, I was muted for some reason there. I'm sorry about that, folks. Yeah, I'll just add on to what Lisa was saying. We've all been there in regards to participation or to renewal rates, right? And we sell a rate and it changes from year to year and it steadily goes down, or it's not what I thought it would be. And a lot of times that the carriers are legitimate and they have to change the participation rates due to the cost of options and the interest rate environment and so on and so forth. But too many times carriers just get a little bit more profit that way. They can adjust the participation rates or the cap rates from one year to the next and to benefit themselves. But you try to align yourself with good carriers that treat the clients fairly and try to treat them like they'd want to be treated themselves, right? So you can completely take that risk off the table with this particular product, though, because if you're investing, as I mentioned, in any of the three or all three of the low volatility indices on a 5 or 7 year chassis, like the 5-year chassis, that participation rate in the enhanced or the enhanced participation rate is going to be locked in. It's going to be guaranteed for that term. So for instance, that 5-year, if you're investing in the low vols, in the 5-year chassis and you're paying up 1.5% to get a higher participation rate of 185, that 185 is going to be locked in for the entire term. So you're completely taking that risk off the table, renewal rate risk. So I think this is probably the coolest thing about this product. I think that it's that it completely eliminates that risk and you don't have to worry about it. Okay, moving right along here. I'm kind of locked up. There we go. So I'll quickly go through this. This is just some interest rate examples. I wanted to get you an idea of what the participation versus the participation rate and the enhanced participation rate with the 1.5% fee. Like for instance, the S&P 500 over the last 5 years, the last 10 years. With a 33% participation rate, annual returns were just under 6. Over the last 10 years, it's just over 5. With the enhanced, and these are net of fees, these return numbers, 7, 7, and 6.2. That's just with the S&P 500. Obviously, that's assuming that participation rate stays exactly the same. With our product, you must be invested in any of the low volatilities for that participation rate to be guaranteed, but this is just for an example or comparison. And again, here's the excuse me, on the 7-year, the 130% participation rate versus the 185 net of 1.5% fees. So as you can see, it's designed for accumulation. It's designed to have the potential to earn a little bit more and still stay safe with some guarantees. And this is the daily risk control. Sorry about that arrow there in the middle. That was a screenshot. This is actually, these numbers actually came from a marketing piece that we do. It's a calculator that you can use that input the participation rate and the enhanced participation rate. It's going to give you updated return numbers for the last 5 years, the last 10 years. So again, here's the daily risk control 5 over the last 5 and 10 compared to the par rate versus the enhanced participation rate. Last 5 years on that ESG. These are all backcasted numbers because this is a brand new index as of the end of last year. But you'll notice that since all of the participation rates and the enhanced participation rates are the same for the low volatility indices, we did that on purpose. They were close enough that we could make it uniform and concise and give it some uniformity. I think it makes it a little bit easier for the clients and for the agents to present since you're dealing with 2 different participation rates on several different indices. So real quick, some additional features. We're taking cases over $1 million. There's a form you have to fill out that you send to us, just a 1-pager, kind of give some background to the information on the case and so on, and then we can make a decision whether or not it's going to we can make an offer on it. We usually get back to you within a day or so. We issue joint owners. That happens with 1035s. I don't recommend it on a cash with app joint owners, but we will accept those types of policies. And third-party ownership. We issue quite a lot of trust-owned policies and also charitable organizations, that type of stuff. Anything that's somewhat unique from an ownership standpoint, we accept that and can readily issue that type of business. And we've kind of been able to carve out a niche in regards to that. And so I definitely wanted to mention that. No commission chargeback on death for issue ages 85 and younger. We do have a unique feature that after the death of the annuitant, this is an owner-driven contract, but after the death of the annuitant, the owner can elect to withdraw their funds within 180 days of that death without any surrender charges. So it's just another client-friendly thing that we offer. I'm not even sure how to position it from a marketing standpoint. Again, this is owner driven, but if the annuitant dies, you can always just say, hey, Mr. Owner, Mrs. Owner, you can walk away if you want. If you want to get out of this, you can do so, and the company is going to waive surrender charges. So we allocate on the 15th of each calendar month. So if the funds are coming in, they're going to be swept into the 3% account. They're going to earn 3% while they're sitting here, and then we allocate on the 15th of the month for the index products. And so the index term is always going to begin on the next 15th day of the month. I don't think I've mentioned partial index crediting, that we're somewhat unique in that regard, that midterm distribution events like a death or annuitization, nursing home, so on and so forth, will receive what's called a partial index credit if there's any gains. And the way that it works is we'll go back and look at the last policy anniversary. We'll look at the value of the index, that how you're investing. If there's any gain in the index, we'll apply the participation rate, prorate it, and we'll credit that gain. And so your beneficiary is going to get a larger amount. Your annuitization amount is going to be larger. If you're going to a nursing home, the amount's going to be larger. I think it's just a very client-friendly thing to do. Now, if the index goes down from last policy anniversary, we'll just use the last policy anniversary's value for death benefit or annuitization, and so on and so forth. So we call that partial index credit. I don't know too many other carriers that do that, but I just want to make sure to mention that because it is client friendly. Oh, I mentioned 10% free withdrawals after the first year too, and it's RMD friendly. So this is the compensation to the agent, the street level, broker level. I mentioned the 5-year, that 5-year product. We do pay full first year comp to age 80, which is somewhat unique. And we also issue that 5-year product to age 93. So it's going to be 5% comp to age 80. Older ages that receive a reduced compensation, but we do issue to age 93. And even if you're an option C person or getting trail comp, on the little 5-year product that issues to age 93, obviously the trail comp isn't available at those ages, but you're saving a 1.5% up front, 1% trail for a 5-year product, which is pretty strong. So, whoops. So just to reiterate what makes it stand out, there's going to be 2 par rates. There's a par rate and there's an enhanced participation rate. The enhanced rate, you're going to have to pay a fee. It can be locked in, the participation rate for 5 years or 7 years, or investing in any of these 3 low volatilities. I mentioned S&P 500, that's the old stalwart that's been around forever, Mark 5 daily risk control, and the brand new ESG daily risk control index that differentiates us for sure. So all uncapped and built for accumulation. I mentioned the multi-year guarantee rates, the GMAB, which we talked about with Lisa, and the return of fees, no 1099. If for some reason that has to kick in, we have to give your money back if the indexes don't perform as they should, and you're paying the fee each year, we'll give you back the fee and make you right. Issue to age 93, as I mentioned, we do have an age 115 maturity, which sets us apart somewhat as well. Nursing home residency and terminal illness waivers are available for all issue ages. You can annuitize at any time, which I think I mentioned, with no surrender charge, the GMAB, trail comp, and that is the conclusion of my presentation. So this is how to reach me if you want. If you want to call me and have some specific questions about product or anything, really, happy to talk to you, and that's my email. Our sales desk is 800-378-4578 or ansales@standard.com. Somebody gets back to you usually within 30 minutes or so. ECI, the Enhanced Choice Index, does have its own web page. You can run an illustration on our website. Agent training is pretty simple, so on and so forth. So with that, I'll open up to questions or comments.
Yep, and at this point, I'm actually going to launch our last poll, actually. If you want to see any illustrations, have a conference call with John, talk to John or Jared, these guys are so awesome and they're such a great partner of IMES, and we appreciate what they do for our producers. So anything that you want on the standard or any of this product information, click yes here. I'll be sure to get in touch with you today or this afternoon, and I'll set up that call, or have Jared or John reach out to you directly if you'd like. Again, great partners of us here at IMES. So go ahead and complete that last poll. And then Jared, do you have anything that you want to add?
No, the only great job, John. And the only thing I would add is obviously we're extremely excited for this opportunity as well. As you can see, based on the information that John provided to you, we think that the standard has an excellent option for your clients, especially in this short-term accumulation. And we're extremely excited to be a part of the team. So thank you, John, for taking the time out, and thank you to everyone that joined.
Absolutely.
I just want to say, Lisa, thank you so much for having me. I always love doing these. What you're doing is fantastic. We value you and your relationship. And Jared, same with you. It's good to hear your voice. Look forward to seeing you soon. I just want to say that if anyone has any need for some additional information about any of these indexes that we offer, including our new ESG index, we've got a lot of marketing material, stuff that S&P has made available to us. Actually, I've gotten to know those guys pretty well. So if you've got some really deep dive in the weeds questions in regard to how these indexes work and want some additional information, I work pretty closely with those guys, and we can get on the phone and answer any questions. But some good resources out there for you.
Absolutely, absolutely. We've had a couple webinars, with the guys directly from the S&P too, so I know that they're willing to have those deep conversations with you if you'd like. So you just holler at one of us and let us know, and we'll make sure we get that set up for you. With that, guys, great job. I think we wrapped this up ahead of time. So for all of you that this is the first webinar again with IMES, welcome to the IMES family. Thanks again for giving us your time this morning, and for those already working with us, thanks for coming back to join us once again. And I hope everybody has a great day, and we'll look forward to the next time. Thanks, Jared, for your time. Thanks, John, for
Yep,
your
thank
time as well.
Thank you, everybody.
Take care. Bye-bye.